C'est pour ça que je parle. Merci beaucoup. Alors, good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. Kwai. I would really like to welcome everyone and thank you for being here today, joining us outside on this cold, crisp winter. But we've been doing our exercises, so we're still a bit warm. And it's really, really appreciated that you are here. Mon nom est Mona Fortier, je suis la secrétaire parlementaire pour la ministre aux Affaires étrangères, mais aussi la députée d'Ottawa-Vanier-Gloucester. Et je suis votre maîtresse de cérémonie pour cette annonce ce matin. Et c'est vraiment important et ça me fait plaisir qu'on soit tous ici avec mes collègues pour pouvoir vous parler de cette annonce. And to begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the traditional, unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. We honor, recognize, and respect the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation as the traditional stewards of this land, and we are grateful for the opportunity to meet here today. Now, today is about looking ahead with confidence. Les Canadiens veulent des transports abordables et fiables, et ils veulent avoir l'assurance que le secteur continuera de créer de bons emplois et de renforcer les communautés à mesure que le secteur évolue. This morning is a chance to speak about those priorities and to the opportunities that are in front of us. And so, without further ado, let's get to the matter at hand. And please join me in welcoming the Honorable Tim Hodgson, Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, to this mic.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Bonjour, and thank you for the introduction, Mona. It's a pleasure to be here with my colleague and friends, Minister McKinnon and Minister de Bruzen, to talk about EVs at a moment where, as Mona said, the future of Canada's automotive industry is being shaped not just by markets, but by choices we make together and our plan for the future of Canada's economy and environment. In Canada, the automotive sector is more than just an industry. It's a source of competitive advantage as well as Canadian pride. The industry is built on the exceptional skills of nearly 500,000 Canadian workers. It's one of the largest export industries with more than 90% of Canadian-made vehicles and 60% of Canadian-made parts exported to the United States. It is families and communities whose livelihoods depend on making, assembling, moving, and maintaining the vehicles that Canadians and the world relies on. When tariffs disrupt those supply chains, it's these Canadian workers who feel the impact first. And we have been clear, this government will always defend Canadian workers and industry when they face unfair and unjustified tariffs. At the same time as the industry evolves, as vehicles become cleaner, smarter, and increasingly electric, those same workers and communities must remain at the very center of the transition. That demands a clear, strong, and deliberate response. Canada's new automotive strategy is just such a response. At its core, it is guided by one principle: ensuring that Canadian workers and Canadian communities remain at the center of the global automotive transition. First, our strategy is about protecting workers and stabilizing the sector. To help the industry adapt, grow, and diversify into new markets, the government is dedicating $3 billion from the Strategic Response Fund, along with $100 million from the Regional Tariff Response Initiative. We are also providing additional income support through the new work-sharing grant program, ensuring workers can stay connected to their jobs as companies adjust to changing market conditions. And to ensure Canadian manufacturers have fair access to their own domestic market, Canada is maintaining counter tariffs on auto imports from the United States. Second, our strategy is about incentivizing businesses to build and invest in Canada. We are launching consultations to strengthen Canada's automotive emission framework and exploring a tradable credit system that rewards companies that produce and invest here at home in Canada. Through Budget 2025, we are reducing costs for manufacturers by introducing the productivity superdeduction, leveraging refundable investment tax credits for clean technologies and electric vehicles, and lowering corporate tax rates for zero-emission technology manufacturers. And to diversify export markets and attract new investments across the EV supply chain, Canada is leveraging its world-class trade agreements, including our recent electric vehicle agreement with China. Third, and critically, this strategy is about transforming Canada's auto sector to build the vehicles of the future and make them accessible to Canadians. Many Canadians want to choose cleaner options, but they feel like EVs are too expensive, or they worry about not having enough charge to get where they need to go. It's time to change that. That's why our new government is bolstering our support for the National Charging Network, and together with a new regulatory approach and purchase incentive program, this will give Canadians confidence, give industry certainty, and give investors reason to commit capital here in Canada, all while making it easier and cheaper for Canadians to choose electric vehicles. I'm excited that we're developing a national charging infrastructure strategy to be released this fall, which will guide the construction and development of EV chargers from coast to coast to coast. Working with provinces, territories, industry, utilities, and partners, the strategy will focus on attracting more private capital, making building EVs ready, creating and supporting a skilled workforce, facilitating grid integration, and educating the public on EVs. Simultaneously, we are actively growing our national EV charging network with a $1.5 billion investment from the Canada Infrastructure Bank in new charging and hydrogen refueling infrastructure. I want to be clear, we are building from a position of strength. Since its launch, Natural Resources Canada's zero-emission vehicle infrastructure program has delivered real results, transforming Canada's charging landscape by supporting more than 30,000 public and private chargers that are open for use. Today, we are building on that success, announcing new investments under 3 Natural Resources Canada programs, all fully aligned with the Prime Minister's automotive strategy. Through the Zero Emission Vehicle Infrastructure Program, we are investing more than $84 million in 122 projects across this country that will install more than 8,000 new charging stations for electric vehicles from coast to coast to coast. Through the Zero Emission Vehicle Awareness Initiative, we are investing more than $7 million in 30 projects, including 11 projects led by Indigenous partners to build knowledge, skills, and confidence in EVs and clean fuels. And through the Green Freight Program, we are investing nearly $6 million in 3 projects to help Canadian fleet owners reduce costs, cut emissions, and improve competitiveness. These total investments of more than $97 million reflect the approach laid out by the Prime Minister. Protect what matters, build what is missing, and retool our economy for the long term. By protecting workers, supporting industry, and investing in the infrastructure that powers the automotive transition, Canada is strengthening its economic sovereignty and focusing on what we can control. Thank you very much. Merci, and I'll turn it back over to Mona.
Merci, Monsieur le ministre. Et vous avez raison, les Canadiens et Canadiennes, comme moi, comme consommatrice d'une voiture électrique, on veut faire partie de cet écosystème et vous avez raison, on a besoin de faire ça. Donc, merci de faire cette annonce aujourd'hui. Et aussi, j'entends les Canadiens et Canadiennes qui veulent qu'on aille de l'avant avec cette approche. Alors, now I would invite Stephen McKinnon, the Minister of Transport and Leader of the Government of the House, to say also a few words. Thank you for being here, Stephen. The mic is yours.
Merci Mona et merci de nous accueillir ici. Merci à vous de braver le froid. Je ne sais pas qui a eu l'idée. Je soupçonne que c'est Tim parce que il est bien, oui, il a porté un bon chapeau. I need to get to know your haberdasher there, Tim. Et merci aussi à ma collègue, mon amie, la ministre de l'Environnement aussi, qui va vous adresser la parole après moi. Nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour partager une bonne nouvelle concernant notre stratégie pour le secteur automobile et plus précisément pour le nouveau programme pour l'abordabilité des véhicules électriques. L'avenir de l'automobile au Canada est électrique et nous venons de rendre cette option plus abordable pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. Je sais que je ne suis pas le seul à me réjouir de voir cet avenir prendre forme sur nos routes et nos autoroutes et dans nos usines d'assemblage et sur les chaînes de production canadiennes. L'un des principaux obstacles à l'adoption des véhicules électriques par les particuliers et les entreprises demeure le coût initial. Et nous voulons donc faciliter le choix des véhicules électriques pour les Canadiens. Ce programme vise également à renforcer l'économie canadienne. En stimulant la demande pour les véhicules électriques, nous soutenons les travailleurs et travailleuses de l'automobile au Canada, les chaînes d'approvisionnement et l'innovation canadienne. The Electric Vehicle Affordability Program helps position Canada as a competitive leader in the global transition to electric mobility, attracting investment, creating good middle-class jobs, and keeping manufacturing right here at home. Affordability is key to making the switch. The new program is focused on helping Canadians with higher upfront costs of electric vehicles. This new program will offer up to $5,000 for anyone who purchases or leases an eligible vehicle. That includes purchases or leases by individuals and families, and purchases or leases by Canadian businesses for a commercial fleet. These will be point-of-sale incentives built into the transaction through a dealership. That will make these incentives easier to access with less paperwork or process. And we are focused on eliminating obstacles. So an important question, of course, is what vehicles are eligible? Well, we're talking about new battery electric and fuel cell electric vehicles sold from February 16, 2026. That means vehicles powered solely by an onboard battery, known as battery electric, and vehicles fueled by compressed hydrogen, known as fuel cell electric. This program will also apply to plug-in hybrids. The incentive for plug-in hybrids will be half the rate, up to $2,500. If the vehicle was not made in Canada, there's a transaction cost limit of $50,000. And we want to help Canadians transition to electric vehicles and support automotive manufacturing in Canada. That is why there is no transaction cost limit for Canadian-made vehicles. The goal for this program is to assist with a transition for consumers and for the market. We know the industry is already trending in that direction. And with that in mind, the incentives will gradually decrease over time, wrapping up in 2031. This approach will provide predictability and transparency and stays in line with expectations that the gap between the cost for new electric vehicles and comparable gas vehicles will shrink over the next few years. Le gouvernement du Canada souhaite aider les Canadiens et les Canadiennes à passer aux véhicules électriques. Nous voulons également appuyer le secteur automobile dans sa transition vers les véhicules électriques tout en renforçant notre résilience économique. L'abordabilité pour les Canadiens et les Canadiennes est une priorité, tout comme la création d'une économie durable et forte. Et ce nouveau programme contribuera à répondre à ces priorités. Comme je l'ai mentionné, l'avenir des véhicules au Canada est résolument électrique. Et je sais que ce nouveau programme aidera à accueillir cet avenir ici, au Canada. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, ministre McKinnon, mon ami Stephen. Alors maintenant, on sait qu'il fait froid, donc je vais accélérer et je vais inviter maintenant l'honorable Julie de Boostin, la ministre de l'Environnement, du Changement climatique et Nature, de venir prendre la parole. Julie?
Merci beaucoup, thanks, and I'm really happy to be here. As Canada's Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Nature, spent a lot of time talking with workers, industry leaders, and communities across the country. And what I hear again and again is this. People want pragmatic solutions that protect the environment, grow our economy, and support good, clean, future jobs that support their communities. It's also about how we grow the economy. That's why environmental policy today is not just about driving down emissions, but it is. It's also about how we build an economy that is future ready, that works for workers, for businesses, and for families. It's about leading the world in the transition to net zero while strengthening Canadian industry, creating good middle-class jobs, and making sure our economy is competitive in a world that's moving quickly towards cleaner technologies and electrification. It's about infrastructure, trade, economic security, supporting an electric future that saves Canadians money and future-proofs. Last week, when Prime Minister Carney announced Canada's new automotive strategy, he laid out a clear path for smart economic growth, one that gives industry the certainty they need to invest, to innovate, and grow here at home. This strategy is about attracting investment into Canada's clean automotive sector, supporting the workers who build our vehicles, and accelerating a shift to zero-emission vehicles in a way that's predictable and achievable. With incentives like reducing the tax rate for zero-emission technology manufacturers, or the new consumer rebate program that Minister McKinnon just spoke about. And Minister Hodgson today talking about the national charging infrastructure announcement, investing $74 million in 129 projects through the Zero Emissions Vehicle Infrastructure Program. We're putting in place durable and lasting infrastructure that will lead us to stronger economic and environmental outcomes for Canadians. We know that the future is electric. One in 4 vehicles sold globally, new vehicles sold globally this year will be EVs. EV choices are expanding rapidly from cars to SUVs to pickup trucks, giving Canadians options to fit their lifestyles. And with plug-in hybrid EVs offering electric driving ranges plus gas backup, Canadians everywhere can make the switch with confidence and savings. We're not just supporting Canadians making the transition, we're also supporting an industry. To do this, we're introducing increasingly stringent greenhouse gas emission standards to achieve our EV sales goal of 75% EV sales in 2035. This approach increases the flexibility for automakers while still positioning us to achieve our GHG goals and meeting our net zero target by 2050. Pour se conformer à des normes plus strictes, les constructeurs automobiles devront commercialiser plus d'options électriques, telles que les véhicules hybrides rechargeables et les véhicules électriques. Du même coup, nous réduirons les formalités administratives et les dédoublements pour les constructeurs automobiles et nous éliminerons les chevauchements avec les mandats de vente provinciaux. Our new government is building the Canada of the future. We're giving Canadians options that mean cleaner air in our neighborhoods, less pollution around schools and playgrounds, and lower energy bills. Because switching to electric vehicles means fewer emissions and significant savings through lower fueling and maintenance costs. Sorry about that. Alors que nous tournons vers l'avenir, les Canadiens s'attendent à ce que nous bâtissons une économie compétitive, résiliente et prête pour l'avenir. Ils recherchent de la certitude. Ils veulent savoir que le pays s'oriente dans une direction qui est censée pour leur vie, leur budget et l'avenir de leurs enfants. Malgré les incertitudes mondiales, nous savons que nous pouvons faire des choix judicieux quant à la prospérité de demain. Nous savons que nous pouvons décarboniser tout en développant une économie saine et inclusive qui profite à tous. Nous réduisons la pollution de façon durable en soutenant des choix qui conviennent dans la vie quotidienne. Si nous faisons correctement, la prochaine génération n'aurait pas à réparer nos erreurs. Elle héritera une économie forte, stable et conçue pour durer. And on that note, I'm very proud for the automobile strategy and everything that we're building for the future of our country. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, ministre de Boostin. Alors, once again, thank you all for coming. Merci à toutes et à tous d'être ici aujourd'hui et braver le froid. I do want to open up the questions.
Now, I'm a burger of the chat. Hope you leave your comments and suggestions as thoughts in the comments so we can take a look at them and discuss them. And thank you for being with us. Like, follow, and subscribe. We'll see you.